tell you, the week has flown by, ladies and gentlemen. We are already at the end of it. And a great weekend indeed is coming up if you are, as I am, a fan of the National Football League. We have a potential preview. Those of you in New York won't see it. The AFC Championship game, the Denver Broncos in Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. Also, the Green Bay Packers in Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Another great game. And then a week from Monday, the Denver Broncos on the road to play the San Francisco 49ers. The NFL weekend making
it's Open Line Friday.
A lot more impact on the final outcomes now. So we have that to look forward to. Plus, as always, it's Open Line Friday. That's what the end of the week means here at the EIB Network, where callers, in all their glory, are allowed to choose the subjects that we discuss on the program. And best way to say this, Monday through Thursday, we talk about the events of the day. On Friday, we talk about, well, topics, things you want to bring up that may not have been in the news for a while. This is your chance to give it a shot. Telephone number is 800-282-2882. That's 800-282-2882. There are new developments, unbelievable developments in the case of the one-year suspension of Latrell Sprewell, because of his attack Monday on a coach. P.J. Carlesimo has provoked an outpouring of reaction, including an angry response from the mayors of San Francisco and Oakland. Now, some of the things you're going to accuse me of making this up, but I'm not. Here is Mayor Willie Brown. Now, remember Willie Brown, after Elvis Gerbach had a bad game, the 49ers are playing somebody, had a bad game, and Willie Brown said he ought not even live in San Francisco anymore. The guy's gutless, and he had to apologize for that, and Gerbach said, I can take the hint, I'm gone. He went to Kansas City. Here's Willie Brown's quote. This is not a person accused of rape, accused of kicking a TV cameraman, accused of carrying a gun on an airplane. Mayor Willie Brown has asked the Reverend Jackson, the NAACP, and Oakland Mayor Elihu Harris to investigate. Reminded that Latrell Sprewell was accused of choking his coach, his boss, Mayor Willie Brown responded, his boss may have needed choking. It may have been justified. Someone should have asked the question, what prompted that? You tell me we don't live in two Americas? We live as two Americas here. Now, Willie Brown's comment, this is not a person accused of rape. That could be anybody in sports he's talking about there, but we assume he's talking about the Dallas Cowboys. They're probably the most recent examples. Accused of kicking a TV cameraman, that's, of course, Dennis Rodman, the Worm. And accused of carrying a gun on an airplane, that would be, of course, Cowboys coach Barry Switzer. And the mayor's point is those guys did far worse things than what Latrell Sprewell did. And those guys did not full year suspension. Some of them only got fines and no suspensions at all. There's no justice here. And apparently there isn't going to be any peace either. A counsel for meaning the lawyers for the Warriors of Golden State, Robin Baguette, swiftly replied to Brown's allegations. He doesn't know the facts. He obviously hadn't learned from his Elvis Gerbach experience. In Oakland, the mayor there, Elihu Harris, joined with Willie Brown in calling for an investigation. He said, yeah, race is an issue, but more importantly, for an athlete who may be similarly dismissed and sanctioned to the NBA without a fair hearing is cause for pause. Sounds like the Reverend Jackson has already been writing scripts. Muggsy Bogues, who is a player and a teammate of Spree's on the Golden State Warriors, said, I'm not sure what good can come out of this suspension. You got a guy out on the street with no source of income, and he's got kids to feed. Spree has a daughter, 7, and a son, 2. Now, Spree was in the midst of a $25 million contract, but this was not. He's earned some money up to now. If he hadn't saved any money, this guy, with the money these guys make, if he can't go a season, then where's the money? He contributed to the Clinton Gore 96 campaign fund? he's got no source of income. Muggsy Bogues is the same guy the other day who said, hey, we can't be too judgmental here until we're in Spree's shoes. You don't know what it was like. Willie Brown said last night at City Hall he decided to get involved by contacting other political leaders and civil rights figures on Spree's behalf because of a belief that the former Warriors player had not been treated fairly by the team or the media. He says, I hate to see a huge apparatus take advantage of a single individual. The singular overkill in this incident cries out for attention. Brown noted that at least half or 5 other NBA players have had serious troubles with the Warriors, coach, a whole host of people who've had trouble. He said that stress, tough work schedules, and other factors may have affected Spree. We also need to find out the root causes of the assault, adding that Spree is being held up as if he's Charlie Manson. And this, my friends, is the Reverend Amos Brown. I want you to listen to his comments now. Reverend Brown, a prominent African-American community leader, San Francisco supervisor, said he does not in any way condone physical violence, but added he was angered by the Spreewell suspension. Quote, it was unconscionable he got this kind of severe punishment, considering that stereotypically black folk historically have been used to provide entertainment to the established culture, whether through sports or music. We've been used as fodder for the entertainment world. People have made money off us, and yet they expect a player to be subjected to the hostile, abusive approach of this coach. He got what he was asking for. This is a man of the cloth. So Spree's nothing but a victim. He's nothing more. This is slavery. These guys are still looking at professional athletes who are black, who are making $25 million as nothing more than entertainment pimps. Victimized by the evil white slave massa. You tell me we don't have 2 Americas. Tell me we don't. We'll be back in a moment, my friends, with more. Phone numbers 800-282-2882.
You're listening to the EIB Network. Kids, just in time for the holidays. From the creators of Tickle Me OJ comes the new toy sensation that's sweeping the nation. See No Evil Reno.
What the? All right, boy. I'm gonna beat your...
Wait, do you have specific and credible evidence?
No, I don't have any incredible evidence.
Then unhand that child until I finish my investigation.
Okay.
That's right, kids. Our tests have shown that your parents will respect the authoritative voice of See No Evil Reno. She's handcrafted with attention to detail, anatomically correct, and 7 feet tall, so you can let mom and dad pick on someone their own size. Get the new See No Evil Reno. She'll be on your side every time. Glasses, makeup, and feminine attire sold separately.
Makeup? What makeup? Why do you need makeup for the See No Evil Reno doll? Makeup? The trumpet fanfare signals it's time for another update, ladies and gentlemen. This is our Larry Lawrence update. The Arlington National Cemetery controversy, honor you can buy. Paul Silman.
Well, I die and they lay me to rest, even though there's no stars on my chest. I didn't serve and don't qualify. Gonna get me an honor I can buy. Oh, gonna get me an honor I can buy. I'm a big donor, yeah, that's why. Go put the pigs in with Togo West. I'm gonna go to the place that's the best. Prepare yourself, big bucks are a must, but you'll have a friend in the White House. Then you'll know that when you die, Bill will recommend you for that honor you can buy. Oh, he'll recommend you for that honor you can buy. While the deserving are passed on by. When you die and they lay you to rest, you're gonna be with the bravest in the best.
All right, folks, a couple of things to update you with here. Unbelievable. Listen to this. A State Department background check when Larry Lawrence was appointed ambassador found no documents verifying his merchant marine service. But because there were no contradictory documents, the department did not pursue the matter, which is absurd. No contradictory documents. I mean, you can't find any info to verify his claim, but because you can't find a document that contradicts the claim, you accept it? Also, there's one other bit of information that they're now saying that might explain this. And I'll save that for just a second, folks. It's a doozy as well.
Well, I'm a winner. I bought my way in. You thought you'd seen the worst of season. The Lincoln bedroom thing was pretty mild compared to recommending you for an honor you can buy. Yeah, to recommend you for an honor you can buy. Does it surprise you? I wonder why. After all, we know he's the best at putting shamelessness to the test. Shamelessness to the test.
The latest possibility, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the latest one. Administration and congressional officials said they intend to dig deeper into this Larry Lawrence controversy and will explore the possibility that Larry Lawrence was traveling. He was, that's what it says here, travel. This is LA Times. Traveling. Will you travel when you are on a torpedo boat in the Merchant Marine? Traveling? What was this, a forerunner of the Calypso Louis cruise to the Middle East? Traveling? How about enlisted? Whatever, under an assumed name to conceal his Jewish identity in case he fell into Nazi hands. So his name may indeed be on that list. It's just not under the name Lawrence. They're gonna see if, because that boat was going to be traveling in dangerous frigid Arctic waters. In case he got captured, he didn't want to be with a Jewish... What, Mr. Snerdley, what? What do you mean, how would anybody know what? Who? Make this... that's not unprecedented. That isn't unprecedented. No, that's not unprecedented at all. There are Jews who moved to this country who changed their names. Not even in, we've never been at war in this country. It's to avoid the discrimination. Way back in the immigration days, it's not uncommon for Jews to change their names. But to say that it happened here, I mean, they're grasping at straws, ladies and gentlemen, to try to make the point here that there's got to be a legitimate explanation for this. Somehow. Anyway, that's the latest on honor you can buy. Grab some calls here. We've got a cell call from Santa Rosa, California. To get started with, welcome to the program, Kurt.
Rush, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know that this incident with Sprewell is not an isolated thing. He's gotten into it with two teammates, gone fisticuffs, and one of them he actually came back to the practice with a 2x4. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Well, how do I know? I mean, don't take this wrong way. How do you know?
Those are documented. They've been on. I've heard it on KMBR the last week that all this has been happening.
So the guy sounds like a real bad actor.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm not surprised by it. Somebody that's prone to this kind of activity this is probably not the first time in his life a guy's engaged in stuff like this. But you still have to wonder if this culture isn't being promoted somehow with lax restrictions in the league. They came down hard on this one, as they should have. Thanks for the update, Kurt. Appreciate it. Here's Bruce in Groton, Connecticut. You're next, sir. Welcome to the program. Nice to have you with us.
Mega dittos from Groton. Listen, I wanted to tell you that I agree with what was done by the NBA, but I think the NBA needs to be consistent. I think they've allowed too much to go on for a number of years, Rodman being an incident. But it's about time they started letting these guys know that this kind of behavior is not going to be accepted. And I wonder what would have happened if it had been the coach that had come in and grabbed him by the throat and then come back in to punch him out. We'd have a different issue here, and they'd want the coach on the chopping block for that.
Yeah, well, the coach probably would have been on the chopping block for that.
And I'm not surprised that Reverend Jackson's been brought into this kind of deal either. That seems to be the cop-out all the time. Everyone.
It's a broken record because it's so predictable. But your first comment that the NBA has been lax, you mentioned Rodman. Why do you think the NBA was lax with Rodman? I mean, Rodman has done, how many suspensions has he had? He's been suspended a lot, never for a full season. But he's had his run-ins with the league. He's had his run-ins with the various clubs for whom he's played. Why do you think he's not been treated a little bit more harshly than he has?
Well, probably because they feel that he's a moneymaker. But I just think that...
well, Sprewell's an all-star player.
That's true. But I think these guys get the idea because they're paid so much money that they're untouchables. And I feel like Rodman should have had a stronger discipline done by the NBA when he kicked that cameraman. That's not acceptable behavior. Matter of fact, I'm a quote-unquote man of the cloth. And if I did that kind of stuff in my church, I'd be out on my ear. But because basketball players or football players or soccer players or baseball players want to do these things, we accept it because they are paid for the entertainment that they give us, and we don't want them to miss the game too long because we want to see them in the game.
Well, in many cases, if you look at Rodman, and I don't know that this is the answer, but Rodman, at the time this happened, he's the official spokesman of Ronald McDonald's. And he's got his book coming out. Rodman is generating millions of dollars outside of the Bulls. And in addition to that, he's generating a lot of money for the Bulls. And that may be a factor. And I'm not saying I justify it at all. Don't misunderstand. But Sprewell was certainly not in that league in terms of generating revenue. And sadly, it may be a factor. It may be. But I think the Rodman treatment allows it to get as big as it's gotten. They've stopped it. Welcome back. It's Rush Limbaugh and the Excellence in Broadcasting Network. 1-800-282-2882 is the number if you'd like to join us. Now, speaking of two Americas, young people seem increasingly accepting of the separate but equal concept for America, according to a new poll put out by the wizards at MTV. The survey by the youth-oriented cable network said that a growing percentage of American youths see nothing wrong with the races keeping to themselves as long as they are not discriminated against. Yep, separate but equal. Segregation, it's making a comeback, at least with the younger generation. I still hear the tune way down low in the, there, I still hear the tune. I still hear ZZ Top. There you go. Okay, Roger in Redmond, Oregon. Thanks for waiting. You're next on the program. Hello.
Yes, Rush.
How are you?
How you doing?
Fine.
Rush, I just wanted to make a general statement. I've been listening to you off and on ever since you come to the Portland area, the station there. And
okay, that's point one. Keep going.
Yeah, and I just find that there is no balance with your show.
Point number two, keep going.
Because everything is...
The show is not about balance. The show's about equal time. I am equal time.
For what?
How long you been listening?
Well, what is it? 7 years? You were originally at KXL, now you're on K-News.
Right. But I mean, I don't need to be balanced. This show doesn't need to be balanced. This show is equal time.
This is a Republican show.
This has been a no, it's not a conservative show. This show has that, but that has been a standard proclamation of mine for at least 6 years.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was about America and loving America, and there is no balance. Checks and balances is in the Constitution, and Republicans and Democrats are, it's not a dictatorship.
This show is. This show, and I've said that before. I don't believe you've really ever listened to this program. I think you...
Oh, yes, I have.
Well, you've missed so much. This is what gets very frustrating. I sit here for 3 hours a day, 15 hours a week. I say things, and here you are calling, and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, yes, I do.
Well, you're dead wrong about the things you're saying.
You have a dictatorship,
and it's a benevolent dictatorship. I'm a benevolent dictator. There is no First Amendment on this show. I don't know how many times have I said it?
Yeah, I guess I can't control what you say, and nobody
But you'd sure like to, wouldn't you?
But ditto head is just like Hitler.
That's point number 4 in the handbook. Point number 3 we didn't catch. Keep going.
What handbook is that? The Rush Limbaugh handbook?
Oh, no. This is the Liberal Democrat handbook about how to get on these programs and what to say when you get on. You are a talking robot, sir.
No, I have no handbook.
You are echoing this. Well, then you've been reading a lot of internet chat mail because you are echoing the sentiments of you are the same broken record that every worthless liberal caller to this show says. You're just a broken record. You're back in fact, it's so old you're playing at 78 RPMs. And it's broken. It's just cracked.
You're broken.
Well, that's very original, sir.
Well,
why don't you
don't
you unburden yourself?
It's your words.
Get rid of it all. Let's make yourself feel. I want you to
I'm not a high Hitler. Okay.
Well, neither you. Look, you are.
But you
want to feel better. You want to feel better about yourself. So go ahead and launch with everything you got, sir. I'm going to sit back and just listen to it.
Well, at $9 million a year, you can say what you want as long as you're making money.
What's $9 million?
What is $9 million?
Why do you insult me by saying I earn as little as $9 million a year?
Well, at least $9 million a year.
Where do you get that number? That number is low. Where do you get it?
I know. That was probably 10 years back.
No, I hadn't. No, not quite that long ago.
But it doesn't matter the money.
You brought it up.
No respect for people.
Oh.
No respect for the people that are running this country.
Who is running the country?
Well, thank God it isn't you. But if you really want to do something, you run.
It sounds to me. It sounds to me like
the country.
It sounds to me like you're afraid I am running the country. Otherwise, would you be so exercised?
No, you're brainwashing the country.
No.
Yes.
That's point number 5. You said Hitler. That's point number 4. Keep going. I want to see how many of these you actually...
No, it's just observation. It doesn't have to be at any handbook.
Sir, you don't have the powers of observation because you have demonstrated that. You don't have the slightest notion of what you're talking about.
Get out
you are a glittering jewel of...
Get a real job.
You are a glittering jewel of colossal ignorance, sir. But look, you you have no... You haven't said
Speak
one...
for yourself.
You haven't said one original thing yet.
Huh? There's no balance. There's no balance. If you really love this country,
that goes back,
you would come up with solutions.
That goes back. I've got the solutions.
Then run for office.
I don't want to take the pay cut. I've said that before, sir.
Well,
why should I go from the amount of money I make to a measly 120? And I'm doing everything I can to make it better. I am trying to make it so that people like you don't dominate our culture and society anymore. And I'm succeeding, which is why you're so upset.
No.
Have you ever thought about why you get so upset about some guy on the radio, Roger?
I don't get upset.
You're not?
Nope.
Really? This is how you are all the time?
The facts. I'm just stating the fact.
You haven't mentioned one fact yet. You haven't gotten one fact. You haven't gotten anything.
There is no balance.
There's certainly. This is, you keep harping back to that, which is a 1988 charge, and I've never said that this program was about balance, Roger.
No,
that's for other talk shows.
And there is no respect for other people with other opinions.
How do you explain?
With other opinions.
How do you explain your lasting?
That's what this country is all about, Rush.
No, it's not. This country is not about opinions.
It is too, on how it should be run.
That's not what this country is about. Tell me how this country is about opinions. Define that for me.
Well, the whole Constitution. I mean, the reason we have amendments to the Constitution is on how opinions on how things should be run better.
The Constitution and the Bill of Rights are opinions?
No, They are not. They're laws, but they're opinions by people on how to.
How do you mix an opinion with law?
Well, they're laws written down by opinions of other people.
Oh, so the amendments are opinions.
Oh, come on.
Well, if you said the laws are opinions written down by other people, or
The laws are, but they originated from other people. I mean, people, that's what this country is all about, the people.
You see, I know what you mean, but you don't have the slightest idea what you're saying. You're one of these guys who think America's great because of its diversity, too, I'm sure. And I don't think there's no greatness in America because of its diversity. What makes America great is...
You don't think so?
No. What makes America great is freedom. Freedom's people like you to be blithering idiots. And to have a free and open opportunity to be so in front of 20 million people.
Get on the radio and blast the president and Democrats in general.
Hey, Raj, I have earned it, you know, pal? I've earned it. Would you like to go out and try it? Try it yourself, Raj. Go out and go to a radio station and say that you got a better way to do it, and go do it. And I'll call you in 5 years and I'll see where you are.
Because you know how to run the country.
Why should I do one thing I don't want to do? I never have said I want to.
I don't want to do what you just said.
Well, because you're criticizing the most successful guy in the world at doing what he does.
No, I'm not.
And you're telling me that I'm not qualified or I'm not justified or because I don't run for office.
Yes, I don't think it's good for the country for you to.
Wait a minute. This show is about opinions, and you just said America was built on opinions. The Constitution's built on opinions. I'm the most constitutional guy in the world, Roger, according to your own warped opinions.
Oh, gosh.
Sieg Heil, Raj. We'll be back in a sec.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Good grief, ladies and gentlemen, the administration has taken over the Weekly Reader. I read the Weekly Reader when I was in school. I actually looked forward to getting the Weekly Reader when I was an adolescent, when I was a young youth of the future in elementary school. Look at this. This is a December 5th issue. Here. This is a faxed copy of it. The Weekly Reader is actually printed on stock a little bit better than fax paper. But here's the headline: President Clinton seeks to end child labor. Why, these kids are going to think that child labor is common in America, and it's all over the place, and it's nobody ever before has sought to wipe out child labor, but President Clinton is going to do it. He cares. He really, really cares. It's mush being fed to skulls full of mush. So the skulls full of mush get even mushier. You know, as far as Spreewell is concerned, affectionately known as Spree, just think if male-on-male sexual harassment is endorsed by the Supreme Court, what Spreewell could have said... Spreewell could have argued that he was defending himself against overtures from the coach, that choking maneuver was a highly advanced technique of sexual asphyxiation masturbation. And he mistook it to be sexual in nature, and that's why he went along with it for a while, but then he learned that he was actually having violence committed against him. He could sue the coach for damages. Because after all here, according to Willie Brown, Spreewell's the victim. You know, actually could be worse for Spreewell if this coach wanted to swear out a criminal complaint. He could do jail time on this. If the coach had sworn out, if the coach had actually filed criminal charges or pressed them. I mean, if you, in terms of that, this Spree got off rather easy. All right, Eugene, Oregon, this is Larry. Larry, hello, welcome to the EIB Network.
Hi, Rush. Mega Duck Diddles from the left coast.
Mega Duck, see, I understand that. Some of you people might not.
I knew you would.
Yes.
Well, that's why you're host.
It's the name of the team.
Hey, the Latrell Spreewell situation, I think, is blown out of proportion. I'll tell you why.
All right.
I think it happened during practice, And I think back when men were men, they could handle a scuffle, especially Carlissimo, who used to coach for the Trailblazers here. But I think he can handle a scuffle. You got a little mark on his face. You keep it under wraps. You keep your player on the team. Or if you want to get rid of him, you trade him, or, you do some other options. But now it's out in the public. This didn't happen during a game. It's out in the public, and everybody's going nuts about it. And
Larry, nice try. You're trying to provoke the audience here, aren't you? Come on.
No, well,
are you doing an impersonation of a liberal here? Hey, it
No.
wasn't really that bad. It didn't happen in a game. It's like saying, hey, the mugging didn't happen in Central Park. It happened in the kitchen. That's not nearly as bad a deal.
It's not a mugging. It's man to man. When a guy's yelling in your face, like this coach tends to do. I'm not condoning Sprewell's action.
Oh, of course not.
I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
No, I know. Of course not. But it's much ado about nothing.
But what would you do if a guy's yelling in your face on a regular basis? Now, you'd handle it in a different way than Sprewell. But the guy went off for a while, but it's during practice. It didn't have to become public. That's what I'm saying. That's my point. And then deal with
you can't play what if. That's a child's game.
Carlissimo had a choice. He could have said, I can make this public or not.
This was going to be talked about. This is huge. It happened. There were two separate incidences, and according to David Stern, the commissioner of the National Basketball Association, Spree, after practice, forced his way through a crowd of people to get to the guy again after there wasn't any verbal abuse the second time. He just launched another assault. And now I kind of like the idea, hey, why do we have to have men act like a bunch of wimps these days? Why can't men be men and settle it the way they used to in the old days? It's kind of a romantic thing to me. All that. But, Larry, you got to stop this kind of behavior. And if there had been a suspension of any kind, people say, what for? Well, conduct detrimental to the team, we're not going to talk about it. Well, there were witnesses. Somebody would have leaked. This was going to get out. No matter what, unless Janet Reno had been brought in on it. And that wasn't likely. I don't think she has jurisdiction yet. So, interesting point of view, though. These guys are wimps. In the old days, they'd have just settled this and it'd have been done with, and a team would have been better off. Gary in West Hope, North Dakota, welcome to the EIB Network. Nice to have you with us.
Oh, nice to talk to you, Mr. Limbaugh.
Thank you, sir.
You had a caller just a couple of minutes ago who was going down the checklist of liberal policies, or liberal name-calling, I guess. And
mindless, baseless, worthless liberal accusations which have gone on for 10 years.
Yeah, and you made the statement, and I took offense to it when you said, you're like all those worthless liberals out there. And I happen to consider myself to be a liberal, and I also happen to not consider myself to be worthless.
No, it's good for your self-esteem. I'm happy to hear it.
I work hard every day, pay my taxes, pay my bills, try to raise my kid the right way.
Why are you a liberal, then?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, because I have certain feelings about...
no, say no more. I understand.
Okay.
Okay, I understand.
And,
feelings, it's feelings, I said.
But we're not all worthless,
All right, I'll take it back. He was definitely worthless. Not
I would
all.
agree. That guy was a bonehead.
Right. Only most. We'll be back.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Open Line Friday rolls on with Rush Limbaugh, talent on loan from God. Phone number, if you'd like to be on the program, 800-282-2882. This is Torrin in Austin, Texas. Hi, Torrin. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Rush. Nice to be on.
Thank you.
I talked to Snerdley a couple. I finally got in on Open Line Friday, which is great.
Hey, congratulations. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I feel like I should be congratulated. Talking about Latrell Sprewell, I compared him basically to Tupac Shakur for this reason. You get these guys that come up in the inner city, and they become what they do, and there is no core. There aren't anybody. So what they do becomes who they are, and they believe what they try to portray to people. Tupac tried to portray that he was a thug. The thug life thing, of course, is stomach. He had a tattoo. Latrell Sprewell had the hair. He had the shorts. He had the attitude. He's walking around like a thug. So he becomes a thug.
You know, I asked that very question this week. I said, when is the NBA going to enforce their dress code and stop having these players looking like and dressing like thugs?
Yeah, well, in Latrell Sprewell's mind, he's probably as big as Michael Jordan. You know, because of where he came from and where he is. He got a shoe deal that he lost now. And he's going out there because he's a basketball player. That's how he defines himself. Not as a person that needs to show respect to anybody. Not as a person with any, academic qualities. He's a basketball player, and that's who he is. And if somebody threatens what he feels is who he is, he attacks.
Because he has no core from his youth.
It never had any.
No decency. It was
never taught to him.
I think you're onto something. I also want to make another point here. This guy's in the midst of a $25 million contract. I wonder if he really is aware of how extraordinarily unique that kind of money is. To earn that kind of money and to have no ongoing concept or consciousness of the specialness of the uniqueness of that, and just to engage in activity that will just have it vanish. I mean, it's almost as like he's entitled to that because of who he is and what he's gone through, that there's no appreciation for it.
I think when you live your life through emotions, the moment is what counts. And it's not Latrell Sprewell's fault in Latrell Sprewell's mind that he lost all of that money. It's the coach's fault. It's the NBA's fault. The fact that he attacked B.J. Carlissimo is not important. The fact that he was provoked to do it in his mind makes it everybody else's fault but his. It's kind of like when a kid falls down having him hit the floor rather than teach him how to walk.
Well, a guy's on something here, folks. We've heard stories about kids inflicting wounds, damage, and sometimes pulling guns simply because they were dissed in the hood because of the way they were looked at. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's more important to Latrell Sprewell that you see him as something he's not than him actually be who he's supposed to be. I mean, the perception is worth more to him than the reality. He wants you to see what he wants you to see, and the reality is unimportant.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think you're right. I think you've swerved into some stuff there, Torin.
Thank you, Roger.
What do you do for a living?
I write music. I'm a producer, writer.
No kidding.
I go back and forth to New York all the time.
What kind of music?
It's kind of a crossover kind of music. I've got a girl down here named Dana who is fantastic that's singing with me. It's kind of a crossover. It's kind of a Brandy. I don't know if you know who she is.
Oh, of course. Heck, I know who Brandy is.
I didn't know you were that hip, Russ.
Hey, you forget. Arsenio Hall said I defined hip once.
And I write words that are actually good words and not words like, ooh, baby, yeah, I want to get you and do that.
Now, that's helpful. That's great to know. Great to have you in this audience. I'm honored. That's Torin from Austin, Texas. Hour 1 is down. 2 more to go. We'll do those 2 hours. We come back in mere moments.